Hello and welcome to Odds Serie A Match Day 14. New leader again. We have Milan on top of the table together with Napoli, both level on points, only 1 point less. Inter and Roma since the Giallorossi lost to Napoli. Leo, this is a roller coaster every week.
Absolutely, Edu. We have 4 teams within 1 point. Then when you at the top, and then when you look at the bottom as well, you have like 4 teams within 1 point between the relegation zone and the safe zone. So this season in Italy is very, very interesting, Edu. It's going to be very tight till the end with the top teams dropping points here and there. I think it's going to be one of the most interesting seasons in a very long time in Serie A, Edu.
We don't know if it's because they are good or because everyone is bad. Leo, I would go for the second, actually.
Probably the second, but
yeah,
still interesting.
I would go for the second as well. Well, guys, let's try to analyze everything that is going on this weekend with many games. On Monday is a national holiday in Italy, so stay with us. Don't forget to let me know your tips and your predictions for this new weekend. And of course, if you enjoy our videos, press the like, subscribe. Very close to the 40K subscribers. Hopefully we can manage to reach that goal at the end of 2025. And now let's go on with the show. First game, Leo, on Saturday, we have Sassuolo, Fiorentina. Fiorentina still winless and no team has safe category, Leo, after not winning in 13 games. So Fiorentina and Verona could see themselves relegated with those stats. 5 points away from Parma right now. Fiorentina lost to Atalanta without raising a globe in that game. But somehow they are still favorites for the bookies traveling to Sassuolo. Sassuolo lost to Como, but they are doing a good season in mid-table.
Yes, absolutely, Edu. And I don't see why 𝐬𝐭𝐴 could be favored for this game. And it's very important to repeat what you say, because let's be clear here, no other team has previously survived relegation from Serie A being winless after 13 games, as is the case with Fiorentina, and of course you mentioned as well with Verona. When you think it can't get worse for Fiorentina, there is always another step forward into the abyss. They have scored only 10 goals all season. In 5 matches they failed to score. They scored twice in the same game, only twice in their draws with Genoa and Bologna, but only worse after the defeat in Bergamo. Probably is what you could expect from a manager who just arrived and doesn't want to be harsh with his players, saying we need to stay positive. But those kind of words are empty for the supporters. They need footballing reasons to be positive, to believe. The defeat with Atalanta came at the back with the defeat against ACCA Athens in the Conference League 2. More reasonably was that Vanoli mentioned that his players needed to adapt mentally and think that they are fighting to avoid relegation. Because if they believe that because they are Fiorentina, it's not going to happen to them, well, they're going to be doomed. And as 𝐜𝐭𝐴𝐵𝐴 was confronting the supporters on Sunday, he can get suspended because of this by the league. And then, yes, who thought Sassuolo will arrive to this game 11 points ahead of 𝐬𝐵𝐴. They are at the back of a defeat at the lake with Como, but something we expected. For them is 2 wins and 2 defeats in the last 5, although at home they lost 2 of the last 3. Of course, Fiorentina's bad run will end one day. That's of course going to happen, but I don't see that happening this Sunday at least. That's why my take is Sassuolo double chance combined with goals over 1.5. Those two together, odds of 2.
Okay, Sassuolo double chance itself is also good for this game.
1.5, yeah.
I'm very surprised about the odds. 1.5 is the smart bet, actually, in our website. Then we have Inter Como here. Also, the smart bet is the double chance, but for Como, 𝐻2. Yep. 2.7 in our new tool Smart Bet. Inter, como, what a game this one, especially seeing Inter struggling this season against big teams. Is como a big team? Well, I don't think so yet, but they are doing a great season. Back-to-back wins against Torino and Sassuolo, very close to the Champions League spots, only 3 points away from Inter, unbeaten since the 30th of August. So be careful with this Como, who could surprise Inter. Leo, they only were able to beat Pisa in the second half.
Yes, Edu, and to be honest, I'm already looking forward for this one, for this Inter Como. I know in this match day 14 we have a Napoli Juventus, which is huge, but at the moment, Como playing against the Serie A top teams is something that I'm really always looking forward to watch. 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝐻𝐿 visiting the stadium, some thought he will be playing this season. 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝐻𝐿 provided probably the best or the most beautiful assist of match day 13 against Sassuolo, with that beautiful pass to Alberto Moreno, who was lately on the fringes of this team, having scored for over a year. And the smallest player in the team and probably in the pitch score with a header. Moreno spoke of pass as 𝐜𝐵𝗵𝐻𝐿, the magician. Fabregas said that pass should be scoring more, and it's good he's pushing him to achieve actually more. He almost scored, for sure you have seen it, from a bicycle kick in the first half against Sassuolo, but and it could have been the goal of the season already in November. But so far, so good for him this season. He is one of the only 2 players in Europe, top 5 leagues, with at least 5 goals and 5 assists. The only one with better goal involvements is Michael Olise from Bayern Munich. Como, as you mentioned, unbeaten since the end of August, 3 points of the Champions League places, 4 points from Napoli and Milan. The clean sheet for Como was important. They already have 6 clean sheets this season. The team that conceded the least alongside Roma with 7. And Inter, yes, as we talked last show, they were going to bounce back from their derby defeat and the defeat in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. And they done the job without much fuss, especially in the second half, yes, against Pisa with a brace from Lautaro Martinez. We talk about how he was getting criticism, so it was timely for him to score. Zanetti, the former captain and legend, and now director, said it was nonsense, that talk, and he is probably right. I love that what Lautaro said about 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 after the game, that he needed a coach like him around, that 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 hugs him more than his wife. That's what Lautaro said. And the talk of Inter struggling this season against top team is back this week, because Como is a top team this season, going back of what you said at the beginning, Edu. And the challenge is going to be there for the Nerazzurri. There are no grays at home for Inter, 5 wins, 2 defeats, Milan and Udinese. No one has scored more than Inter's 17 goals at home this season. But I think Como has everything to go home, if not with 3 points, with at least 1. That's what my take here, Edu, is Como double chance alongside the Smart Bet tool. I'm going to go Como double chance 2.62 is one of my takes. And the other one will be 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝐻𝐿 to score or to assist anytime, 3.25.
Well, it's a massive test, I think, also for 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝐻𝐿 if they don't beat Como in this game. And then on Wednesday they play, or on Tuesday they play Liverpool in the Champions League. So it's a big week for Inter Milan. And for Saturday we have Verona Atalanta. Same words as we said for Fiorentina. We can apply them to Verona. Still winless, only 6 points. They were at the beginning of the season one of the favorites to go down. And it's looking like this after losing to Genoa and Parma, 2 direct rivals in the last 2 games. And Atalanta, Leo, bouncing back from the 𝗀𝗏𝗏 era, beating Fiorentina, beating Frankfurt, really 2 positive results.
everyone bounced back after 𝗀𝐿𝐺 era, Edu.
Cannot go worse.
Yeah, exactly. Even Southampton, I think, it bounced back after 𝗀𝐿𝐺 era. And yeah, some are talking of this Palladino magic one so far, 2 consecutive wins, 5 goals scored, 2 clean sheets. With Laviola was the first win of Palladino in Serie A with Atalanta. It was a special one because, of course, it came against his former employers, who in the summer thought they could do better without him, not so much. Atalanta, yeah, showing glimpses of an identity with Palladino. There are players like 𝗛𝗲𝗏𝗀 starting to look like their old self. He was involved in all the best moves on Sunday. Palladino has found so far, I would say, his preferred attacking trio with the Belgium alongside Lookman and 𝗲𝗏𝗏 as a point of reference. It was an unchanged 11 with the team that started and won 3-0 in Germany. The Atalanta of the last 2 games, and I will add probably the second half against Napoli in the defeat 2 match days ago, has been showing a much more attacking intent than with 𝗀𝐿𝐺. The spirit has been different. And now comes this Verona, who is winless at home. Well, winless in the season, 6 defeats in the last 9 for them. A Verona side that failed to score in 6 of their 13 matches. Just 8 goals scored all season, the lowest in Serie A. My take here, straight Edu, Atalanta to win, 1.75.
Indeed. Next one, Cremonese Lecce. Cremonese ruined your ACCA, Leo.
I know.
Massive surprise, beating Bologna 3-1 with 𝗛𝗏𝗏𝗀 scoring a brace. Great first half for the team from Cremona after 3 consecutive defeats. And Lecce also massive win against Torino. They are 3 points away now from Pisa. 2 teams called to fight against relegation, but I'm not sure anymore if Cremonese is going to fight or they are going to be quiet the whole season.
Yes, Edu, and I was thinking, I was actually waiting for Monday, to see Bologna doing what they needed to do, and then the Cremonese win 3-1 away, blow my ACCA away. It was a shocking win, yes, of course, for Cremonese. Jamie Vardy, start of the show. The brace make it 4 goals in 9 games for him, which is already more than he scored 2 seasons ago in the Premier League when he netted 3 times in 37 games. Last season in England, he scored 9 goals, so there is a very realistic chance here that he will do even better for Cremonese, for 𝗛𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏's delight. The miracle manager has Cremonese 7 points above the red zone, 11th in the standings. Nicola and the teammates are loving Vardy. They all talk of self-confident, light-hearted, someone who doesn't get his attitude wrong. He trains hard. Nicola, David also said that Vardy still keeps his habits, that he still enjoys his omelette, beans, and full English breakfast before training. That he's a great character.
Poor guy, come on, you have better things in the north of Italy.
But habits are habits, Edu. Actually, look, he mentioned that in the win against Bologna, he scored because the weather, it looked very similar to England, so he felt at home. So that is bad. And to feel at home, he needs his full English breakfast. It was the 3rd win on the road in the season for Cremonese. They are actually the 6th best team away from home. And who can say that they have wins against Milan and Bologna in their turf this season? However, at home is just 1 win in 6 for them, and that was on Matchday 2 against Sassuolo. Since then, 3 draws and 2 consecutive defeats. But Cremonese, this one should be a game for Cremonese to capitalize on what they have done against Bologna. After the win in San Siro came the win at home against Sassuolo. But now they're going to face a good Lecce, Edu. And I mean good because they have when you compare to the start of the season, lately they have improved. The defeat with Lazio 2 match days ago was poor, but overall the last 2 months have been better for them. 11 points from the last 24 in play is a good return for a team fighting to avoid relegation. On the road, 2 wins and 2 defeats in the last 4. I don't expect a quiet game in terms of goals here, even if it's a game which we could label as a 6-pointer, despite Cremonese doing better. My take here is goals over 2.5, odds of 2.5.
Do you think he enjoys his espresso, his cappuccino, or also going to Caffè Nero and this Starbucks and these things that you have in the
Well,
UK?
Edu,
Come on, Bardi, you have better things in Cremona.
Well, but Edu, Bardi is not a person for espresso, for coffee. He's a man of energy drinks. He can always be seen in training with energy drinks, or at least that was the picture I used to see of him in Leicester.
Well, let's go to the islands. Cagliari, Roma. Roma were very disappointed after the defeat against Napoli. 3rd defeat at home in Serie A, 5th this season. The numbers are bad in the Olimpico, but of course, Roma are doing a great season. They think the goal should have been disallowed, the goal scored by Napoli. And the question is that no striker is delivering. Probably that game was supposed to be a draw against Napoli, but it was the same against Inter. It was the same against Milan. Perhaps they don't deserve to lose, but they are losing all these big games. And away from home, Leo, they've been great so far this season. Only 1 defeat against Milan in San Siro, and Cagliari, they are winless in 9, so Roma should take all 3 points here.
Yes, absolutely. They should bounce back here, Edu. I don't know if it's been a case of playing 3 days after the Europa League, having 1 less day than Napoli to rest, but it was far from a good performance, the one we have seen in the capital against Napoli. Gasperini made just 3 changes. Also, Manu Kone, who is probably the most physically imposing midfielder in the league, alongside 𝐿𝐵𝐴 and Emerson, played with a knock, and he was not the engine we know he is for this Roma. Evan Ferguson was back in the starting lineup, but largely ineffective and was sub at halftime. Of course, we can't take anything away from Roma. In the calendar year, no one got more points than them. Actually, it's 10 more points than Napoli, for example, in 2025 for Roma. But it's true that the feeling or the taste that left the defeat is that you start, or some will start doubting if in the end Roma can be title contender or not. I would still say yes, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Edu, they are all dropping points. And we have talked of Inter failures in big games, but Roma, and I agree with you, is having their own problems in those type of games. Of their 4 defeats, 3 were against Inter, Milan, and Napoli. With every game, it's clear that Roma needs a goal scorer. Between Ferguson and 𝗏𝗏𝗏, who is now injured, they have 3 goals this season. Tommaso Baldanzi, who is a trequartista, more than a striker, but started, for example, against Cremonese in the forward position. He has 2 goals in 65 games for Roma. The fact that Toma is toothless up front in those big games against title rivals, it had an impact, because they lost with Milan and Inter 1-0, despite taking a combined 35 shots. With Napoli was the opposite, because Roma registered just 2 shots on target, and one of them came from a centre-back, from Gianluca Mancini. But the opportunity, of course, there for Roma in Sardinia against this Cagliari, who is sitting 15, but just 1 point above the relegation zone. Last win came in September. At home is 3 defeats in the last 4. In those 3 defeats, they scored 1 goal only, but the last time in Sardinia was a goal feast with Genoa, that 3-3. Playing Roma is difficult to imagine that something like that could happen, that goal feast, as the Giallorossi has conceded the least this season. My take, Edu, is Roma to win 1.70. For those thinking Roma to win 2-0, the odds go up to 2.63, but I will keep it simple, Roma to win 1.7.
Let's see if they are able to bounce back after the defeat against Napoli. Special game for Claudio Ranieri. I'm sure he will be watching this game. Lazio Bologna is a very good one. Next, Bologna lost to Cremonese. Big surprise, as we said. They were coming from 3 consecutive wins. They were very close to the Champions League spots, but they were surprised, especially in the first half, by Cremonese. And Lazio, another team, complaining about the referees. This one because of a handball in their defeat against Milan. I didn't see the handball, to be honest. And at home, been decent this season. Leo not conceding a lot, except this game against Torino, but pretty decent run playing at the Olimpico.
Yes, Edu, and to be honest, it wasn't a bad performance in the defeat with Milan for Lazio. They still feel for sure that they should have been awarded the penalty at the end of the match in San Siro, which was a funny moment because when the referee started the after review speech, he acknowledged that Pavlovic touched the ball with his hand, and he made the mimic of that, and Lazio supporters started celebrating. They thought that the referee was awarded the penalty, but the referee continued talking, saying that the handball came after the foul on a Milan player, which made that handball irrelevant. The difference on the game was Leao and Maignan. The chaos with that decision when the penalty was not awarded, and there was a lot of discussion, managers, player, and everything. I don't know, it could have been avoided easily. I don't know why they put the VAR monitors in between the benches. Why they don't put the VAR monitor on the other side of the pitch, and they will avoid everyone trying to gather to influence the referee's decision. The worst for Lazio is not the defeat, I think, but the fact that they have to play 3 games in a week, because on Wednesday night they're playing Coppa Italia, and the fact is that, and we talk about this already this season in our show, Edu, is that they don't have the squad to rotate and to maintain a certain level, especially with so many injuries. In a game without many things happening, Lazio did better after Leao's goal. They pushed, the energy was good, the intensity was there, but the gap with the top teams is clear. And one of those top teams is Bologna, who needs to bounce back after we mentioned it was a shocking defeat with Cremonese. Fair to say, Vincenzo Italiano has been saying, for example, even after the win against Salzburg in Europa League, that his team takes risk and attacking risk, and that constantly will come with risk of conceding at the other end, but they are able to score plenty as well. With Cremonese, part of that happened because very often they were caught in transition, but also I would say they weren't the same in terms of their pressing energy, maybe because they also played on Thursday in Europa League, and it had the same impact than with Roma, although they had one more day to rest Bologna because they played on a Monday. But in my opinion, they didn't look much of themselves, or for much of the game at least. Although at 2-0 down, they reacted, they created chances, but it was a game with too many crosses for Bologna, and it's not something they usually do. At 3-1 down as well, Santi Castro had a massive chance, and probably if he scored, we would have seen Bologna pushing for the equalizer in the final minutes. No one has scored more than Bologna on the road. They won 3 and drew 1 of the last 4 away, scoring 10 and conceding 3. The odds are very tight here. Probably book is pointing to a draw. I will take the goals market route. Goals over 2.5 here as well, Edu, 2.5.
And now the game of the weekend, you mentioned it before, Napoli, Juventus. Juventus getting a couple of good results against Cagliari, and also in Coppa Italia in midweek, away pretty weak this season, very poor. And they lost the last 6 games in the Maradona. Of course, it's going to be very special to see Spalletti back at the Maradona where he won the Scudetto. And Napoli also is a huge game for them, but they've been very strong playing at home, 5 wins, 1 draw, also delivering in the big games. We saw it against Inter, against Roma. So if I have to back one team, Leo, no doubt I could back Napoli here.
Yes, they have been doing very well, Edu, against top teams this season as well. Well, they have that defeat with Milan, but otherwise it's been good for Napoli. And it was a massive win, the one at the Olimpico. As I said, yes, they took 6 points against the top 4, wins against Inter and Roma, and that defeat with Milan. It's 3 consecutive wins in all competitions now. They have done it in the capital within an injury crisis in midfield, with, of course, Kevin De Bruyne for a long time out, Samuel Gisa, Billy Gilmour all out. Conte has changed lately because of this situation, and he moved from the 4-1-4-1 to 3 at the back against Atalanta, against Karabakh, and also against Roma. This change has suited David Neres, because the Brazilian winger was struggling to find a place in that original setup, but in this 3-4-3, is allowing him to do the things he does best, pushing high, taking on 1v1 situation against the opposition right back, being great in transition. Against Roma, he served chances to Noah Lang and to Di Lorenzo. In the end, he scored the winning goal. It was his first Serie A goal in the last 2 games. 𝐿inkOvić-Savić had 1 important save to make all evening only. Napoli did not suffer at the back. It was a composed performance, a very mature performance from Napoli, one to expect from a champion. A win with authority. They were aggressive from the very first minute until the end. They were the best team in the pitch, no doubt about that. Last season, it was 2-1 win for Napoli at home against Juventus. If for Napoli, the main man on match day 13 was Neres, no doubt that for Juventus, the man was 𝐭𝐿. After Jonathan David scoring the Champions League against Bodo, I thought that maybe now things will change for him, but that wasn't the case with Cagliari, because he did score on Tuesday night in Coppa Italia in the 2-0 win against Udinese. But with Sardinians, after replacing 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in the first half, who got injured, the Serbian, Spalletti had to confront some supporters behind the dugout who were insulting the Canadian performance. But 𝐿inkOvić was the one able to carry his performance against Bodo to the game with Cagliari, scoring a brace. Juve conceded first again, something that keeps happening this season, but by halftime they were already winning 2-1. 𝐿inkOvić scored with his right foot, then scored with his left foot. Only Lamine Yamal and Desiree Doué have been involved in more goals in 2025 among his age group. They would need him scoring, because 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is going to be out for a minimum of 2 to 3 months. My takes here, Edu, are on the individual market. Kenan Yildiz to have over 2.5 shots, that has odds of 2.75, and Neres to keep carrying his performances. Neres to score or to assist, odds of 2.5.
And 3 games on Monday, as I said, is a national holiday in Italy, so good time to go to the football. At 3 p.m. we have Pisa Parma, important game this one for the relegation battle. Pisa 10 points, bottom 3. Parma only 1 point ahead. Parma lost to Udinese after beating Verona and drawing with Milan. Pisa back to the bottom 3 after the defeat against Inter, but they were very competitive lately, so this is so hard to predict, in my opinion.
And for me, they are favorites, Edu, Pisa, to be honest. And yes, it's a real 6-pointer here, at the back of a defeat we've expected, but they compete against Inter. But now playing at home, they have a massive opportunity to leave the red zone for the first time this season, Edu. Their only win this season came in a 6-pointer, and it was at home, the 1-0 against Cremonese. With Sassuolo away, they almost did it, but they dropped 2 points on added time. With Verona at home, it was a goalless draw. With Fiorentina at home, another 0-0. And that's why they are favorable for me here against this Parma, who took a step back against Udinese after they collected 4 points in the previous 6 at play. Away from home is 1 win and 3 defeats for Parma. Only 3 goals scored. Of course, it's a team for a team that is fighting to avoid relegation, as Parma is involved. Inconsistency is an issue, but every time I get to think that Parma is finding their feet under Carlos Cuesta, then a massive letdown happens, and the one with Udinese was one of those. And I agree of seeing, as the book is Pisa's favorite. Many will point to the under goals market, which is under 2.5 here, is at 1.55. But I will take Pisa to win here, Edu, at 2.45 is good for me, and Pisa could leave on Matchday 14 the red zone.
All right, Udinese Genoa is the next one. Another game important for the relegation battle, since Genoa are only 1 point above Pisa. Without Vieira, they are improving, beat Verona, so they were able to leave the relegation spots. Before that, draw with Cagliari, with Fiore, win against Sassuolo. So really good, the reaction from Genoa and Udinese. Well, Leo, these kind of teams that are going to stay in Europe, when they play against big teams, they usually lose. When they play against bad teams, they usually win.
That's the story of Udinese, yes. Yeah. But it was good to see Genoa winning, Edu, under Daniele De Rossi. It was knocking, and not that first win under Daniele De Rossi, and finally arrived. And actually, it came from behind, and deservedly a win that took them out of the relegation zone. Lorenzo Colombo could be the man of the Rossi's era in Genoa. 2 goals in the last 3 for him. It's just 1 point above the red zone, but a great relief for Genoa. The first half probably was not good for them against Verona, but I believe the Rossi took the hairdryer in the dressing room at halftime, because things changed a lot in the second one. The problem for Genoa in large spells of the games that they did dominate in possession, but they were slow, I would say, on the ball, which was detrimental for them to find spaces. Something to work for the Rossi is the chemistry between Colombo and Vitinha in attack. They don't look to each other a lot. It is, anyway, 3 games without losing since the Rossi's arrival. They are visiting Atalanta in Coppa Italia on Wednesday, so we will see if he chooses to rotate, thinking of this game on Sunday. Udinese, on the other hand, a very good win away at the Tardini, but they need to find some balance, some regularity. It's all green and red for them lately. With the defeat in Coppa Italia in Turin, it's 4 defeats and 3 wins in the last 7. But they are 9th in the ninth position, level on points with Lazio with 18 points. At home, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 defeats in 6. But those 2 wins came in the last 3 games. I don't see this one as an under 2.5. Probably might take both teams to score odds of 2.05.
Okay, Leo, and the last game is another good one. Torino, Milan, with Milan making miracles this season, or perhaps is Max Allegri back on top of the table after beating Lazio, after beating Inter. 𝐿𝐵 is the star. A bit of luck, but still, I think credit to Maximiliano Allegri to make this team competitive again. And let's see if they are able to beat Torino, coming from 2 ugly defeats, Leo, with Lecce and Como.
Yes, Edu, and they should do it. And the pattern for this Milan is clear, no? Mania making great saves, and someone scoring, usually Pulisic or lately Rafa Leao. The Portuguese scored his 5th goal of the season against Lazio, but that happened against the run of play, as I mentioned before when we talk about Lazio. But they're doing great against top teams, wins against Napoli, Inter, Roma, Bologna, drawing with Juventus, and they have suffered so far with lesser teams, Pisa, Cremonese, Parma. The first half of Magnan on Sunday was amazing, pulling great saves against Mario Gila, against 𝐶𝐿 as well. On that first half, Milan did not know how to deal with Lazio's press, which wasn't overly aggressive, but Allegri's team had problems to progress with the ball. They increased the tempo in the second half, and and at least they offer a little better performance. But anyway, it's not too often in the last decade that we have seen Milan top of Serie A after 13 games. Actually, it happened only twice, and Milan finished first and second those 2 seasons when they were top after 13 games in the last 10 years. Allegri keeps insisting that 𝐿𝐴𝐵 is a number 9, that he played there for Lille, and that slowly he's doing the movements he's asking him to do. That's true. Usually we will see before when a cross was coming from the right, that 𝐿𝐴𝐵 will stay on the left, but now lately he's making runs into the box when crosses are coming, typical movements of a number 9. Apart from Mañán and 𝐿𝐴𝐵, Adrien Rabiot had a good game in midfield. He's very intelligent tactically and offers as well some physicality. 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲. Can this Torino put Milan in trouble? Well, I don't see it. They were very poor. They are very poor. No wins in the last 5, 2 consecutive defeats, and after the thrashing at home with 𝐿𝐵, they did better against Lecce in the 2-1 defeat. Marco Baroni is feeling some heat, I would say, Edu. And those setbacks with Pisa or Cremonese were at home for Milan. So I wouldn't be thinking that this time a lesser team could provide difficulties or put Milan in too much troubles. That's why my take is Milan to win, combined with Milan first team to score, these two together, odds of 2.95.
Okay, this is it for our Serie A show. Who is going to be the top of the table next week? Well, we have plenty of options, 4 actually. So we could say one leader on Saturday, Inter, another leader on Sunday, Napoli, and another one on Monday, Milan, for instance. So we will see. In the meantime, guys, remember that you have available your tipster competitions in Oddspedia, where you can create your own tipsters tips and win money yearly or monthly. For instance, now in December is another opportunity for you to win some cash. And we have, as I always mention, rivals for you. You can create your own tipster competition there. Leo, let's go with your safe bet.
Inter Como goals over 1.5, odds of 1.25.
And the ACCA?
Atalanta to win, Roma to win, Milan to win. These 3 together, odds of 5.44.
Okay, Leo, thank you. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye-bye.